Hello everyone. So here's what we've done with our project so far. We've created what appears to be two web pages in a website, when in reality we know it's really just one single page. But it looks like there's a home page here and a contact page, and I can see why we'd be led to believe that it's separate pages, because the URL in the URL bar is changing when we click on those links. So in reality, it's really just one page, and React is taking care of all the routing for us. So it's you don't have to worry about exactly how it does that in order to be good with React. But anyway, so here's what we've done so far. Now I'm going to take a look at the code here. So let's go back to VS Code here. And just to recap how we did all this stuff, first we installed the browser router package from React. And then what we did is we went into index.js here and we imported this browser router component, and we wrapped a browser router element around our app, and that allows us to use the router with our application. So these seem like strange steps here, but this is what you do to set everything up. Once we've set up the browser router like this in index.js, then we modified our root component. That no longer has any markup in it. It really just defines the routes for our application. So we had to import two more modules from the React Router DOM package that we installed, and we use those to define our routes. So we had to create, it's like an array of routes is what we call it here. So we have to wrap all of the routes inside of a routes element, and then we can define each route with a route element. So we've got routes and we've got route. So each route is defined by two things. We have to specify a path. So for example, the path to the contact page is /contact. And when people go to that route, we display the contact page component. So finally, what we did is we created a folder called Pages, and we put our components that represent a web page in there. Our components folder is for components that we create that are for parts of a page, but the Pages folder stores components that represent a whole page. Okay, so if we look in the components folder here, we'll see that we've got our parts right here, footer, header, and nav bar. But if we look in the Pages folder, we'll see that these are the React components that represent a page. Now finally, one last thing I want before we move on here is I want to show you that what our home page component looks like. So we've got a header, nav bar, our main content area, and then a footer. Now the contact page looks super similar. So what we're doing here is we're repeating all this code right here, the nav bar, the header, and the footer. We don't really want to do that. We want to, what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to show you a way that you don't have to repeat your code inside your pages. We can use what's called a layout component to do that. So here we go. I want you to right click on your pages folder and create a new file. So right click on the pages folder and do new file. And what we're going to do is we're going to call this main layout.js. Okay, and then here we'll go ahead and do the React snippet, RAFCE, like that. And that'll get us our boilerplate code here. And inside the return statement, I'm going to delete that, and we'll use a fragment here. So there's our tags for our fragment. And then inside of there, I'm going to put the header. Now, it's not importing for me, so I'm not sure why it's not, but it'd be nice if it did, so I'll have to import those later. And then I'm going to put a nav bar element, or component maybe I should say. I bet both statements are true. And then we're going to set up our main element. Now you can see that the main element uses a lowercase letter to start, so that indicates that it's just a plain old main HTML element, not a React component that we created. And then what we're going to do here is something that's really cool with React, is we're going to add a prop. Well, I suppose I better finish the footer off here. So I'm going to go ahead and add the footer underneath the main, and then I suppose I better go ahead and import those before I forget. So I'm going to go ahead and import those components that we're using here. I'm just going to remove that React import because that's no longer needed, but I'll add import navbar, and then whoops, I'll import the navbar, import the header, and then import the footer. Okay, now next what I'm going to do is every React component can have a prop called children, and I'll show you how we use this. It's really cool. So we're going to make this our main layout, but the thing that's going to be different is what shows up in the main content area. So we can pass that in as a prop, and this is a special prop called children. So here for my, I'm going to add a parameter to my component function. And you guys know that component functions take an object as a parameter. So I'm going to put an object in there, and then we're going to destructure it. We want to extract the children prop out of this object here. So, and I'll explain this as we move on here. Okay, so anyways, add a prop called children to your component function. And then we want to display the children inside the main element right here. So in our JSX code, I'm going to bust into JavaScript by putting the curly braces there. And then we simply just want to display the children here. Okay, we'll show you how this works here. Go ahead and save the changes there. Here is the entire component, our main layout component. I just moved the terminal down so you could see everything. And now let's go over to our home page component. And what we can do here is we can get rid of all the redundant code. So actually here, I'm going to delete everything but the H1 element. So I'm deleting everything, including the fragment tags. Okay, and then I'm going to have to fix some indentation right here. But what I can do right here is use our main layout component. So I'll do less than sign and then main layout. Oh, look at that. The auto import worked for me that time. So it imported it for me automatically. Okay, and then I'm going to take the closing main layout tag and cut it and move it down here. Whoops, now I have to fix my indentation because we know how important that is. It should look like that. Okay, so what we have here is a main layout element, which is based off of our main layout component, and here are the children of it. So these children get passed in as the prop, and over back in our main layout we're displaying those children right here. Okay, so this is a cool feature of React. It allows us to create kind of wrappers around our components. So yeah, I think that's it for the home page, and I'll do the same thing for the contact page here. So I'm going to go to the contact page, and I'm going to delete everything except for the main content, which is our H1 element. So, and then I'm going to wrap that content, our H1 element, inside of a main layout component, element, whatever you want to call it. Okay, now interesting, the importing is working for me, so I don't have to worry about the imports, but as you've seen, it doesn't always work. So I'm going to rearrange things like this. Okay, so there is an example of using this children prop if you want to, and the purpose of it is so that you can define like wrapper components. Here's all the stuff that we want to put around the children of this main layout element that we can use. Okay, now in the next video, in one of the next videos, one of the upcoming videos, I'm going to show you another really cool thing you can do with this children prop. So let's just test this all out. I'm going to save everything, save my files, all the files that have changed. Did I save main layout? Looks like looks like I saved everything. I'll just make sure here. Okay, and let's see what happens when I run it now. It says I got a warning. Oh, okay, these might be old warnings, I believe. Let's see what it looks like in the browser here. It should look exactly the same. Okay, no difference in the browser, but what we've done is we've eliminated the duplicated code that we put in the home page and the contact page. All the nav, the header, and the footer, we moved those into one component called the main layout component, and now we're no longer duplicating that code in all of our pages. So very cool. Okay, that's it for this video.